Abraham Washington where he does a talk show.
I've heard of that, yeah.
1 week, man. If they do it tonight, I'm gonna send you a message. Pain, just put yourself through the pain for 10, 15 minutes, whoever it goes. I mean, these are continually the worst segments in WWE history. I mean, it's horrible. And today, yes, in WWE today, these are the worst segments that are produced, and it's horrible. And every week you get this talk show, and it's not like it's like a 5-minute thing and then it's over. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Is he a politician kind of guy? Was Abraham Washington? What is that? Abraham Lincoln and George Washington or something?
He talks in the real slow voice, and people just boo the shit out of him, and I'll say thank you for your support, thank you so much, I love you. You know what I mean? It's shit like that. It's just horrible. You'd have to check it out. I mean, I'm sure they'll do it tonight. They do it every other week. You know what I mean? Now they have Tony Atlas, who is, I mean, he's out there and he just laughs at every. I mean, you got to see it. It's too hard to explain, but
well, he does like Ron Simmons used to just say, "Damn," he's the guy that laughs. Is that what you're saying?
He just laughs at every, and it just keeps going throughout.
How'd that go again?
Stop.
No?
We're not doing that again. No. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know. Check it out tonight if they do it. I'm sure they will. Back to Breaking Point. We had a in the arena, in the ring segment with Pat Patterson, who got a huge pop when he came out, being from Montreal. But, boy, did they shit all over this. I mean, there was a loud chant of shut the F up and lots of other things. I mean, crowd just shit all over this.
He's spoken French to the Montreal audience, and Ziggler came out and got in his face and blah, 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 then tried to beat him down, and then Morrison made the save. But the one question I had was, why did they love Pat Patterson so much but shit all over Shawn Michaels? Did they not realize Pat Patterson was booking in 97?
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, he claims to this day he didn't know, but, you know, get out of my face. He's like number 2 or 3 under Vince, especially back then. So, and he's the guy who, his job is to come up with finishes for matches and stuff like that. He's the guy that lays out the match structure. And that, if you're not, come on, if you're going to screw somebody over and you're worried and he doesn't know about it, exactly.
Yeah, come on. I mean, the basic gist of this segment was Ziggler came out, trashed Patterson, kicked him in the gut, and Morrison ran out for the save. Crowd was already dead by this point, so it didn't.
What was the point of that segment? I don't understand.
Well, the point of the segment is Morrison came out to make the save, so you've got Morrison versus Ziggler, which was supposed to be on the pay-per-view, which has been postponed until Hell in a Cell, I believe. So basically, just to further
keeping them in their minds or something? Keeping them in our minds? I don't know what. Yeah.
Well, Rey Mysterio was supposed to take on Ziggler at the pay-per-view, you know what I mean? So they didn't have a lot of build time for Morrison versus Ziggler. Maybe they want 3 more weeks here on SmackDown.
What do you mean? No. Mysterio dropped the title the night after the last pay-per-view on SmackDown.
Right,
so they've had every SmackDown to build that up if they wanted to. Same as any other match.
Mysterio was only suspended, 2 weeks ago?
2 or 3.
It was confirmed. See, basically what happened is it was confirmed. A Breaking Point match was confirmed. They did this whole angle on SmackDown, #1 contendership, da-da-da-da-da. Then they confirmed it, that it was Ziggler versus Mysterio. All right? Then they shot the angle on SmackDown where Morrison came out, and that put him in the mix. All right? So Morrison had the title going into the pay-per-view, but there wasn't enough build for Morrison versus Ziggler. You only had 2 weeks, so they postponed it from this pay-per-view. Now you've got 3 more weeks. Basically, the Rey Mysterio plan effed it all up. You know what I mean? Because you were going into Breaking Point with Ziggler versus Mysterio. Mysterio gets suspended. You got to take the title off him. You put it on John Morrison. You've only got 1 or 2 weeks before the pay-per-view to build that angle up. You know what I'm saying? To do Morrison versus Ziggler at the pay-per-view. Now you've got 3 more weeks to do Ziggler versus Morrison. Build up.
Oh, I guess now that I look at the card, every single program has been going on for more than one pay-per-view's time. Because, I mean, the whole reason they didn't suspend Mysterio before the last pay-per-view, Royal Rumble, or SummerSlam, what am I saying? SummerSlam was because they wanted him to work SummerSlam. So they some reason made it a public announcement that he was suspended starting next Wednesday. Right. You know what I mean? Or so, right. Yeah, so, or what the hell, yeah, but either way, every single program I'm looking at, Cena Orton, Punk Taker, Christian Regal, Kane Khali, Legacy DX, Kingston Miz,
But
Big
I
Show
mean, we talked about. I mean, it's the same shit every pay-per-view.
It's literally the same card with like a new stipulation.
Oh,
now they get a bat. Now they get a tennis racket. Now they get a telephone.
They're gonna do it again at Hell in a Cell with that stipulation.
Yeah,
you know?
as far as the two matches we know so far.
Right. So it's just the same exact shit from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and you got to throw down $39, or you can go to WrestlingStreams.net. Cheap plug for my man Rob. Go over there.
Oh yeah.
A free stream, or not a free, but get the elite.
2 main events. 20 minutes till the break.
2 main events. All right. 12 minutes. 11 minutes till the break. No doubt. Cena versus Randy Orton. Cena defeated Orton. Orton taps out. STF.
The handcuffs and the key around the neck and all that stuff.
I mean, this was good. It was all right. I mean, when you get the handcuffs involved, I mean, that was an awful long beatdown of Orton on Cena. You know what I mean? Cena handcuffed to the ring, just a complete beatdown over and over and over and over. You know what I mean?
When Cena does the big brave thing and handcuffs himself to Orton when he finally gets free, you think he's going to take the cuff off and he gets the key, and he says, no. I'm handcuffing myself to this dude. He ain't getting away from me, and then he beats him, and congratulations. Cena's the new Hulkamaniac. So
then we had I didn't mean to cut you off. We had Punk and Taker in the main event from Montreal. We had the screw job finish. Taker actually won the title. Teddy Long comes out after it was over and says, "What was the move? The
Hell's Gate.
That was banned back from the days of good old Vicky Guerrero. Don't we miss her?"
Oh, yeah. That has to be way long time ago because when she left, she was Raw GM, right? So, I mean, we're talking way long time ago. That must have been banned.
Yeah, right.
So that's the only creativity. I mean, if you talk about the actual finish of they actually had 2 finishes because of the screw job and then the restart of the match, but both finishes sucked. There was no creativity put into them at all. The only thing I guess they spent their minds thinking was, how can we explain why the match has to be restarted? Oh, I got it. They banned the move 12 years ago. Let's bring that back up. You know, that's the only thing they put any creativity into. I mean, it was literally put somebody in a submission. It was first the vice grip or no? What the hell? Anaconda vice. Yeah. Right. As soon as he put it on, boom, tap. Or no, Hell's Gate, boom, tap. And then the Anaconda vice, boom, tap. Or boom, ring the bell. You know, it was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the way that you want. I mean, it was an all right. Now that I run down the card, I mean, if we were to give it a school letter grade, I don't know, man, probably a C+.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I would say if they had a regular finish or something creative to screw Undertaker over, it would have probably been maybe a B show because the main event is important. I mean, that's the last impression you have is the last thing you see, and the main event's the biggest match, and blah 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 blah. The whole show was, as a whole, pretty decent up until that point, and then they just took a shit on everybody on the way out. So.
Well, it's Canada. You know what I mean? Every time it seems like they come to Canada, it's like, let's just fuck with the crowd. Let's just screw with the crowd, you know?
Yeah, I know. They got to get over that.
All right, so that was Breaking Point from Sunday night. We got about 9 minutes, 10 minutes until we go to the hourly commercial break. I'll tell you what, man, Monday Night Raw, we're probably going to be able to get through this in about 10 minutes. I'm going to let you do your thing. I know you did play-by-play. I'll be here. I'm going to comment on a few things about, just Trish Stratus. I'm not a fan of. I'm a big fan. Never been a big fan of. I mean, in-ring work.
She looked good, though, didn't she?
She looked good.
She looked real good. She looked real good. Yeah, she looked real good. That yoga and brown hair is paying off, man. I like it. I dig it. The show opened with...
Well, you know what? You're a fan of brunettes more than you are
I like brunettes more than blondes. You like the Barbie doll-looking bitches, but, what are you going to do?
It's that Kelly, baby.
She's from Jacksonville, man. Maybe I'll introduce you one of these times.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sure you got the hookups down there.
Yeah, right.
I'll have to go talk to Jeremy Piven, right?
There you go. Yeah. He's moving in on that. Opener was Batista was introduced. You thought it'd be Trish, but it was Batista. Came out with his giant arm sling on, and he was all somber and acting like he was about to announce his retirement. Before he got a chance to, Orton's music hit. He came out and interrupted him and said he's still pissed about last night, but this is one thing he can enjoy, listening to Batista cry and say goodbye because of what Orton did to him. And Batista said, "I know something you don't know," took his cast off and clotheslined him, beat the hell out of him. And he said, I'm not retiring, I'm moving to SmackDown. But before I do, Trish, the GM for the night or whatever, the guest host, has made one more match for me on Raw, and it'll be me and you in the main event, no holds barred. So that was the opener.
See, that's interesting because he's back early. You know what I mean? He's back way early from an injury. I think he was still a few months away or you know what
weeks,
I mean?
Something like that. But my question is, they went to the point of doing a giant injury angle on him, and the last words he says was, "This will never be over, this will never be over." He comes back, barely any hype, 1 week of build-up, comes in the ring, announces he's moving to SmackDown, and there's no build to a pay-per-view for a revenge match for Batista and Orton. Now that Cena's champion, Cena could move on and have a new contender, so we could finally see something different than Cena Orton. They dropped the ball. I mean, I think they're worried about Mysterio and Jeff Hardy both leaving SmackDown, and they need to move somebody on that side to kind of beef things up. But even still, I don't know, man. I don't. That seems a big waste to me because they had a pretty hot thing with that. So
yeah, well, you know how injuries throw plans off. You know what I mean? And a big name was needed over on SmackDown, especially with Mysterio's future kind of up in the air right now, and like you said, Jeff Hardy as well leaving WWE. So yeah. I don't know. I think it was just a change of plans. You know what I mean? Late change of plans. Needed him back.
Well, it definitely was. But, I mean, again, if you put a few more minutes of thought into it, I'm sure you could come up with something so you don't waste a giant angle that, I mean, it hasn't been building for months, but technically the angle was started, you know, or heated up months ago when they did the injury thing, and this will never be over, and then he comes back and it's over in one night. So
Right. And they've done that before with somebody else where they just came back, they built it up. They built this matchup. It was recent, too, and it's not coming to me right now. But they built a match up, and then that was it. You know, or no, it was Carlito and Primo.
Yeah. They broke them up, and finally, one match on Raw, and it was done with.
Right, and that was it. And now, I mean, Primo was on Raw last night as a face, working as a face. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's like I don't know. What
are you going to do, man?
Creative, you know?
Did he work on Raw last night? Yeah, I guess he did.
Raw.
Oh, yeah, here, coming up here. Trish came out next, and she was doing all her stuff. I mean, she looked good, and compared to other hosts, she wasn't bad, but I don't think she was good either. She's never been much of a great talker of any kind, and I don't know. Right. She still had it in the ring, which we'll talk about later, but yeah, she made some announcements like matches, and the next match she made the main event, and so that was that, and then the next match was Jack Swagger and The Miz, your boy, versus Kofi Kingston and Primo, as you mentioned earlier.
He's got a big pop, man. I caught Miz's pop coming out last. I was back and forth between obviously.
Me too. On commercials.
And yeah, you know, and then at 10 o'clock, Leno came on with Jerry Seinfeld, so I was going back and forth between that as well. A lot of stuff.
I don't have that luxury. It really pissed me off. I wanted to see that stuff real bad.
Yeah, no, play-by-play, baby.
Yeah, loads of fun. But yeah, okay, so Swagger and Miz got the win there, but pretty interesting finish. Let me try and remember, because I do remember what's important about it. Swagger was on the top rope doing the punches on, we'll just say it was Kofi Kingston. I think it was. Yeah, it was. No, Kofi Kingston was on top punching Swagger in the corner. Miz walks by on the floor, grabs the U.S. title, starts walking away, which distracts Kofi. Swagger hits the gut-wrench powerbomb, pins him, and Miz just walks off with the title. So he has possession of the U.S. title as we speak. So that's
all right. So we continue the feud with Kingston and Miz.
Yeah, but now they're doing the old angle where they steal the belt, and the only way you can get it back is if you beat me, and blah, 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 blah. Next up was the number one contenders match, which Lillian Garcia announced as a triple threat match, even though there was only two people. So either she's screwing up a lot or WWE is screwing with her on the way out, making her look stupid. But it was Alicia Fox and Gail Kim. And Kim got a pretty big pop because she was announced as being from Toronto, where they were. But the match was trash, as usual. And Alicia Fox got the win with, like, something stupid. I don't remember. It was something as simple as, like, a punch or something, like a kick or just something stupid. And then she got the win, so she's the new number one contender to Mickie James' Divas title. And she was on commentary, Mickie James, and she was quite atrocious on commentary.
I saw that in your play-by-play last night as well, man. We were talking during
She said, that's what it was. It was somebody, Gail Kim or one or the other, kicked the other girl in the head, and she said, I've taken that kick before. That's brutal. And then I said, ... Yeah, and so is Mickie James on commentary, brutal, or something like that. Yeah.
That's what it was. Her and Maurice was the other one, dude.
I remember that too, yeah.
Oh, God, it's horrible. Why do they do it? You know, maybe it comes across because you got to figure that Vince is in Mickey's headset at that point. You know what I mean? Probably.
I didn't even think of that.
Somebody's in her headset. So, and my feeling is that Vince is backstage at Raw and SmackDown every week. Maybe SmackDown because it's Friday night, whatever, but Monday night, I don't think he goes back and watches replays of...
Oh, he doesn't. I don't think so. No.
You know what I mean? So he doesn't... He's got
people that